So Felipe would want a safer roads, a safer travel, and safer commute for everybody in Delhi or Indian city, I would say.
Definitely. And that's completely related to all what I've been saying here. When we talk about, some people think when you talk about pedestrians, you're not really talking about safety, or everything is completely connected. Look, let me tell you the story from Bogota.
Definitely.
When I was in Bogota as the Secretary of Mobility, there were a lot of pushbacks to take a bike lane that we put on during the COVID time in the city. Because they were saying, look, nobody used these bike lanes, who's gonna be here, and so on. And the answer was always, well, nobody use it because if it's not there, people will not be willing to do it because they will feel unsafe. People don't use their bike not because they don't want to, it's because they don't have the way to do it. And the right way to do it is if you know you will not be killed on the street. That said, we got the bike lane, and actually it started being more and more and more used. The second question then was, oh, but you never see traffic there. Look, the traffic that you are making with the cars. So we start measuring how many people were all the time crossing the point.
Bike lanes.
And there were more bikers than cars.
Wow.
And the reason is because, of course, you never get a traffic jam of bikes because they just can go and they don't get stuck, while cars got stuck. So the answer is always, it's not only what you see and what your ideas are about how it will look like or why people is not using things. It's about if you provide the right infrastructure, if it's safe, people will start using it. So sometimes people will say, oh, but in India it doesn't work because we have a different weather, we don't have the infrastructure, people don't want to walk. If you ask someone, they will not really like to walk.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the right answer. If you don't provide infrastructure, you will never know if people is really willing to walk or not. Actually, people walk a lot because they don't have any other way to do it,
Yes.
but in a very unsafe way.
Okay, so things should get really changed in our country, I would say. Especially in the manner if the infrastructure is provided, then it'll be a little better.
Yes, definitely. But let me also mention what I said at the beginning. I think that's a big shift that is somehow happening.
Yes.
The thing is, you need to invite more and more people, so you make sure that more decision makers are deciding the right way, are not just thinking of, for example, building a metro and, oh, I provided a metro. Okay, how people will get to the metro?
Yes.
You know, like how people can walk into the metro.
Yes.
Is there a connection or not? Is it safe? I remember this I think it was in Bangalore. I was trying to cross a junction right by the metro. It took me like 10 minutes. I come from a city that is quite difficult too. I mean, don't think that Bogota is the perfect city. It's quite chaotic, big, and it took me like 10 minutes just to cross the junction.
Wow.
And I'm not an elder person. I have no discapacity. So I was thinking, okay, what if a child wants to cross this? What if an elder person wants to cross this? If it took me 10 minutes, how is for that people to access to the metro? So these kind of things have to start changing. So there are many advances in terms of infrastructure, in terms of how cities are being reshaped here, but it needs a little bit more of a holistic view, so things can change in a better way for people.
Actually, I mean, 10 minutes to cross a junction, and if you add up the time from home to that place, it'll add up like another 10 minutes, and then you're saying 20-30 minutes only just for walking to reach a place.
Yes.
And by that time, people will say, okay, I'll take my car, and that might be pushing them to not take these transport.
You're absolutely right. I don't know if you know this, but and you can try it yourself. When you're waiting a bus, this is actually something it's proven. So there is a survey that somebody did. They start measuring the time of someone who was waiting for a bus. Okay. And then they realized that person was waiting for 5 minutes. They reach out to that person and ask, how much time have you been waiting here? And that person answered, oh, I don't know, like 15 minutes.
Wow.
Or 10 minutes. We always measure that waiting time longer than it really is. And the reason is because, of course, you want to use that time in something else.
Yes.
Because that moment that you're waiting, it's produce you some impatience, produce you want to arrive faster, it's boring. So you will measure it in a different way. So we as decision makers need to understand that all that time that people wait or people is not able to cross a junction, or they will penalize that in a very negative way. And that's why people will decide to go to another transport mode.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to, even when they have to wait in traffic, it's different because they have music, they have air conditioner. So we need to understand that as decision makers. And that's why I use the word reliable so much, because our systems need to be reliable. People need to know what to expect from our transport systems.
So what do you think your experiences or lessons that you have learned from Bogota can India and Indian city take forward?
So look, I think there are some factors that are relevant on this. And it's, first of all, community. People needs to understand there is not a silver bullet, right? So you need as a community to understand what your responsibility is with the city, what you can do to make your city, your space better, how you can protect your space with garbage, with pushing the government so they really do what you need. Like, we need a pedestrian path here, we need to work in this way. And also teach your kids how to be a better generation for the future.
Yes.
Because some of us learn in a very difficult way how the future should look like, because the vision before was quite different. So we as fathers, as uncles, have a very important responsibility with the new generations. We need to be able to provide them with the right answers so they can push their governments, but also know that they are part of the solution. So community is one first thing. The second thing is institutionality. Governments need to understand and build the right institutionality. That means you need plans for the immediate term, short term, mid-term, and then long term. And with that plan, you need to understand what's your institutionality that you need for accomplish that, what kind of budget you need and how you will get it, and what kind of projects you will be developing. If you get that sense of a plan, then you will be able to build something and to make sure that you get to that 24/7 in the right way. Yeah. And then the last thing is, of course, data and decision makers with the help of political will. That I mix a little bit, because if you have communities pushing, that's where the political will start like getting to the politicians.
Yes, yes.
When you have the community pushing, that's political will, because they will have to somehow do things.
Yes.
So to produce that political will and getting the right data, then you will be able to combine these things and move forward. So I think those are probably the three factors. Just to summarize: community engagement, institutionality and plans that work. And then third, it's political will, and let's say fourth, data.
Nice.